In this Java tutorial, we're going to be understanding the structure of Java programs. The smallest building blocks in Java programs are the functions. Well, what is a function? A function is a block of code that performs a meaningful task. In other words, think of switches on your electric switchboard. When you turn on a switch, the light turns on, or the fan starts rotating, or anything that is connected to the switch turns on. If you turn off the switch, then the corresponding device to the switch turns off. Each switch performs a useful and a meaningful task. A regulator increases or decreases the fan speed. Functions in programming are exactly the same. We can have a function to capitalize the user's text. We can have a function to send an email. We can also have a function to calculate the average marks of a student, and so on. Now, let's see how we can make our own function in Java. We have to begin by giving the return type of the function. This means we are asking the function to perform some tasks and return a specific type of data. Sometimes functions return a numeric value like area or speed, or let's say the total cost, and sometimes we just need a function to perform some task and we do not want it to return anything. So in that case, we give the return type of the function as void. Void return type does not return anything. Now, void is a reserved keyword in Java, and that's why I have colored it in green. So, after our return type, we need to have a name for our function. We make functions in order to get some work done. So, make sure you give it a relevant and a descriptive name. Like search Google. This name clearly tells us the purpose of this function, okay? Now, after the name, we have a pair of parentheses, and in this parenthesis, we add our parameters. We use these parameters to pass some values to our function. For example, in our case, search Google function can have a parameter like term which we want to search on Google, a query, or anything similar. We will take a look at parameters in the future. So let's get back to our topic now. After the parenthesis, we add a pair of curly braces. And within these curly braces, we write our code. Now, let me tell you one thing. There are two ways of adding the curly braces. First way, we open the curly bracket on the same line where we have given the name and parameters of the function. And the second method is to open the curly bracket on the next line of our function declaration. The first method is preferred over the second one and is accepted widely. But it is up to you to decide which one you will prefer. I will stick to the first method in most of my tutorials. Now, every Java program must have one function, and that is the main function. Main function is the first function to be executed within a Java program. Whenever we execute our program, this function gets called first, and the code within the main function gets executed. Do note that any Java program can never have more than one main function. Now, in Java, functions don't exist without a class. A function must always belong to some class. So we can say that a class is a collection of one or more related functions and data types. I know this might sound confusing for some people, but it's alright. I will show what are classes in my future videos. For now, let us concentrate on what are other features of classes and why do we need classes. So, classes helps us in organizing our code. Take an example of an e-commerce website like Flipkart. Here, every item is organized and stored in its respective category. Like there's a category for mobile, laptop, speakers, cameras, and various other items. The classes also helps us to organize our code in similar manner. They help us to store related functions at the same place. Let us see some of the other features of classes. Classes help us in reusing our code, and it also helps us in reducing our code. Reducing the size of a code and reusing it are the features which good and professional developers possess. Okay, now every Java program should have at least one class that contains the main function, and that is the main class. You define a class in this way. First, you write the class keyword. Then, you give your class a descriptive and a meaningful name. Next, you have to add a pair of curly braces. Now, the function that we defined in these curly braces belong to this class, and the correct term for these functions is methods. Function that belongs to a class is called a method. In some programming languages like Python, you can have a function outside a class, but only those functions which belong to a class are called as methods of that class. Now in Java, we have something called as access modifiers. As the name suggests, they are used to determine if other classes and methods in the same program can access the methods and variables within the class. So, there are 4 types of access modifiers in Java, namely public, private, protected, and default. We'll dive deeper into the access modifiers in future, but for now, I would like to tell you that most of the time we use the public access modifier. So we simply put public declaration just before our class and method name. So this is our basic structure of a Java program, and the minimum elements in a Java program are main class, main method within the main class. Well, we have talked about a lot of stuff till now, but you might be wondering, why did we use a capital M in class name and a small m in the main method name? So here, the naming conventions play a major role. Classes are named by Pascal naming convention, while method names are given by camel case convention. In Pascal naming convention, we capitalize the first letter of each word. In camel casing naming convention, we keep the first word in lowercase and then we capitalize the first letter of each word. Note that we do not leave any spaces between the words. Alright, now you know the basic structure and anatomy of a Java program. In the next video, we will create a new Java project and see all of these things in action. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and if you like the video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you have any doubts or any suggestions, you can put it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.